For the day. And today we're talking matters menstrual health and menstrual hygiene. And right next to me to talk about these matters is Phineas Kwega. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much,
Nalima. And you are looking great.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah. Thank you so much. And now let's talk about menstrual hygiene and menstrual health. And especially at this time when there is the high cost of living.
Yes.
People are complaining about affording basic commodities.
Yes.
Which is food.
Yes.
Clothes.
Yes.
And a place to stay.
Yes.
There have been at least 3 people who have been reported dead because of their ongoing drought. And so then menstruation, which comes every month. Then for some people, that may not look like a necessity. But how important is it? Let's talk about that.
Thank you very much, Nalima. Thank you for having me. My name is Phineas Kwega. I'm an advocate and the founder and director of an organization called My Flow Foundation, which deals with eradicating period poverty in our communities, in our schools, and mentoring and empowering girls across the country. Now, to your question on menstrual health and hygiene. Yes, the cost of living is high. So you ask if people are unable to afford food, is period product a necessity? Yeah, and this is where now the issue of period poverty comes in. Period poverty is rife in the country, especially in the villages and in informal settlements where we have very many vulnerable families living. So girls and women from our communities and in the informal settlements are unable to get these period products, because you can imagine a parent is out there going to make a living and they are being paid a certain amount of money. Will they buy period products or will they buy food for sustenance? So that's where now we come in and try to supplement with our Dignity Care Pack. We go to these schools, we go to these communities, and we issue our Dignity Care Pack in a bid to now just eradicate the lack or the need that is there.
Right.
Yes.
And so as you try to aid the families, of course, the backgrounds that are unable to take care of such basic needs, then what is in that care package?
All right. So ours is a holistic. We just don't visit these girls with pads only. We try to bring them a dignity care pack because we understand we want the girls to be comfortable and to bleed with dignity during their cycle. So other than the pads that we give, we also have panties. Because you see, the pad has to go on a panty.
It has to go somewhere.
It has to go on a panty. You cannot just wear it. It has to go on a panty. And then 2, we have a bar of soap. You have to clean yourself up. Yeah, because, you know, hygiene. You have to be clean. And then we have oil, like Vaseline to apply yourself. And then other than that, we also have a dignity or a menstrual health information booklet that talks about menstruation. So all these form the care package. 3 packets or 4 packets of pads, 2 cotton panties, a bar soap, oil, and an information booklet. During the corona times, 2020 and 2021 up to last year, actually up to last year, we used to include a mask, a washable mask in the Dignity Care Pack. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the genesis of it all. And just for many young girls who get the period for the first time, and for a long time it has been a taboo subject. That we don't get to talk openly about menstruation. You know, your brother, your father cannot even see you carrying a packet of sanitary towels. That is how it has been for a very long time. But now we are opening up the conversation.
Yes.
And it is important not only for the women, but for the men to be part of this conversation as well.
Very.
Tell us why.
Very. So period poverty doesn't just mean lack of the period products.
Right.
It also means the lack of information around menstruation. What is this information? What is periods? How do I manage periods? Where do I seek help when I have started my cycle? Especially for those who are young and starting it for the first time. Where do I get this information on menstruation? And how do I manage my cycle when that time comes? Yeah. So the menstruation subject has not been spoken about loudly and widely.
Right.
It's only in 2022, or the last 5 years building up to now, that we are now having these conversations, even on this platform, like even on the mainstream media.
Right.
Yeah. But back then we were not having these conversations. Yeah. So we need to speak about menstruation, both to our girls and even to the men in our circles, in our communities, about menstruation and how they can come in and help girls, support girls when they're on their period, give them confidence, give them dignity while on their flow. So we started these conversations in 2020 during the corona period.
Right.
I came to the realization that many girls were not having the essential period products. And then number two, they did not know how to go about it, especially so when they are in school. Yeah, a girl will start menstruating when in school, and out of shame, they will just sit back or just be quiet and be sad and not know where to go and seek for help. And then the other thing, there are also stories that have not been so much highlighted by our media about girls even committing suicide. There's a girl in Bomet who committed suicide out of shame. There was a
story that we covered.
There's Bomet and then there's Busi. I don't know which one you covered. As a young girl, starting her periods, but now out of shame, out of, I think, embarrassment, she committed suicide. Yeah, because she didn't know where to go and seek for help. She didn't have somebody to speak to. So these things, they are very rife. So in our conversations, we talk to our girls and we tell them, yes, be confident, speak up and seek help. And then we also talk to teachers and the male people in our communities, in our circles. We are like, be readily available to help these girls whenever you see them in that position where they need help, where they need support.
Right.
Yeah, because you see, you cannot do this alone. For instance, there's a girl who is just, say, being raised by a single dad, and then her time comes, and say it's a holiday or it's a weekend, they're not in school. Where do you expect this girl to get information and support from, if not from the father? And how will the father offer this support if they do not know, or if they don't have the knowledge
they need to have
and information?
That conversation.
Yes. So how do you then start having these conversations with your children? You just start. Yeah. There is no rocket science or how do I research or wherever you have. You just, if it's your child, if it's your child in the house, you just start having these conversations with them. That way you create that avenue where when this time comes, then they open up. They're easy to come to you and say, by the way, I think I have started my flow and I need a pad, I need a panty, I need this and that kind of support.
And you know, as you try to empower the girl child, then education is a very essential part.
It is.
And from the story that we covered some time back about the girl who committed suicide,
yeah,
and it's after a teacher made fun of her.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see, then that becomes even sadder because the teachers,
yes,
the people who are supposed to be informing, protect you,
yeah,
and of course instill that confidence as well,
yes,
and impart a lot of knowledge. So then are you focusing on teachers as well, who are very vital in this conversation?
Okay, in our conversations, for instance, when we go to schools, we have these conversations with both, okay, the teachers are present. Our focus is girls, but when we speak to the girls, we also encourage the teachers to be present. We encourage the teachers to be supportive, yeah? Because if a child is in that situation in school, the safest person they are supposed to run to is a mwalimu. We want these teachers, one, to be equipped with knowledge, the know-how on how to have these conversations with the girls, and then 2, to also be equipped with the materials, such that when a child comes and tells you, Mwalimu, I have started my flow, you are able to take them aside and tell them, 1, 2, 3, this is how you're supposed to do it, carry yourself out, clean yourself, and you can use this. Yeah, it is so sad that we have those kind of teachers who laugh at you, teachers who are not, teachers are supposed to be enablers. They support, they're like our parents in the absence of our parents in school.
They give direction.
Yeah, they need to give directions and be supportive. So as a teacher, a student should feel very free to come to you and tell you, I am having 1, 2, 3. How can you help me? Or can you help me in this way or that way?
Right.
Yeah.
And when we're having this conversation, then around adolescence, when girls start growing up now, maturing into young women, then there's the whole process of they experience a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So we can start from growing of the breast.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of changes that happens, and it gets uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah.
We know of many girls in our classes who, when they started developing breasts early enough, then they had to bend
or hide or put on sweater.
That kind of posture.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of shame, I'd say, in just growing up as a young woman.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you could be a class 5 pupil, and all this is happening.
Yeah.
And many people think we're still kids.
Yeah.
But now you are really starting to grow up.
Yeah.
So then this conversation is important all the way down. And especially at a time when people are growing up even faster than before.
Yeah. And accepting your body and your growth and understanding it. I think it needs to be provided in schools, where teachers, I don't know if it's through GNC, guidance and counseling, or whatever program that the school needs to come up with, and just talk to the kids. Because a kid comes to your school at class 1, that's a small child. By the time they get to class 5 and 6, they start experiencing these body changes. So as teachers, as even parents, these are conversations that need to be talked about on a daily basis. In that way, then the child will know, 1, I am growing, and then 2, they will accept themselves. They will not be hard or beat themselves about, They will not be hard on themselves. They will understand that I am now growing. I see this change, I am now growing. It will help them also boost and develop their self-esteem. Because here you are, you have spoken to this child, she has the knowledge, she is now seeing the changes, so she now understands that this is normal. It's not that there's something bad happening to me. Yeah. So these are conversations that, other than the academics, other than the discipline and respect, these are important conversations that parents, teachers, guardians, elders, the church, whoever, all stakeholders need to be having with their children as they grow up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, even for a lot of parents, some are very traditional parents, and open conversations are not the most common thing. So then how do you approach that?
The main challenge, actually, even in our programs on ending or eradicating period poverty and mentoring girls, we are tackling taboos, myths, and misconceptions and misinformation around menstruation, around sexual health. So our approach is just to encourage children to talk, and to encourage, for instance, teachers to open up and encourage the kids to come to them and talk about it. As a teacher, you shouldn't shy away, because if you shy away from this conversation and not call it as it is, then the child will also equally shy away. Same to parents, same to church elders, just all the adults in the room. Encourage a child to speak by speaking it yourself. Talk about menstruation, talk about it. Talk about the taboos, the myths, the things that we have been told that are known to be false. Say, for instance, sex. Sex is not a topic that is talked about openly.
And that's even a bigger taboo.
It's a bigger taboo. You will not, even now, even in this day and age, you will not just walk up to your parent and say 1, 2, 3.
But now a little uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. But now, to break that ice, you have to have this conversation with your child. For instance, if your child is 13, that's, I think 13, menstruation starts at around 9, 10, that age. And then being sexually active also around that age, though the age of majority is 18, but if you go to our communities, 13, 14, True. That's when now girls start having, and boys even start engaging in sex. So as a parent, if you start this conversation firsthand with your child, you call them and, you start, just with the basics. With the basics, this is, sex is A, B, C, D. This is what happens. This is what will happen if A and B is done. Open conversations with them.
And see, for now, a community, a society that has shied away from addressing issues of menstruation as well as sexual health, then how do we start breaking the ice? How do we all of a sudden start saying, Mom, can we talk about sex?
Okay, I think that we have started breaking the ice because we are having these conversations.
Right.
Yeah, we have started breaking the ice. I think we have done the first hammer on the ice block. Yeah, and even the government in its for instance, now in what we do, they have the menstrual health and hygiene policy that came into effect. It's a 2019 policy, but came into effect in 2020. Right. It addresses all these things. It provides that kids need to be talked about 1, 2, 3, menstrual health. Teachers need to be equipped with the knowledge, the infrastructure, the know-how to tackle menstrual health. So these are conversations that us as adults just need to take on. You understand? We just need to start speaking about them. It's how you will start. If the door is closed, you have to start opening it pole pole until it's wide open. Yeah, so we find a way of doing it, and how we do it at My Flow Foundation is when we have our clinics and our activities in various schools, we speak. We have the programs. We speak about menstrual health. Right. We speak about sexual health. We speak about drug abuse. We speak about academics and everything. So, as an adult in your circle, even as a sister, you find a way of starting this conversation. Yeah, it's all about also just courage and confidence. Once you know the knowledge and the information around it, it's now just upon you now to find a way to now start the conversation. Yeah, because it has to be, we have to speak about these things.
We don't have
they
a choice.
Are happening. Right. We cannot continue to hide. And I'm glad a lot of progress has been made. We are no longer hiding. We are having this conversation. So we just need to now take them on a wider audience, like speak loudly now, spread the gospel far and wide.
Right.
Yeah.
And, for people who can even afford, for ladies who can afford the period products every single month, it's still an expensive affair, especially if there are complications. There could be, the period pain, the cramps, then endometriosis, in some instances, there's the cyst. So there are a lot of illnesses around the time of menstruation every single month. So for the girls who are in the needy families, so I can only imagine it is worse for them. So then how do you go about it?
What we normally do is we speak to these girls and create awareness. That's the extent or how far we can go. Right. We cannot say we want to now start dealing with the innate problems. So we speak to them and we tell them, if you have, for instance, menstruation comes with the pain, the period pain. If it's manageable, take the drugs to manage. If it is not, if it is extreme, you now have to talk to your teacher and find a way to see a doctor. We cannot, or we have not yet say we are now in a position to tackle that problem brought by, the pain, the infections and all that. What we now do as an organization is make them aware. For instance, if you're having extreme pain, you have taken painkillers and it's not going away.
Right.
What do you need to do? Don't just sit there. You might be having a problem. If you're bleeding excessively, heavily, beyond your normal 3, 4, 5, 7 days, that's a problem. You need to see if you can go to a health facility. They check you. They find out what the problem is. So what we do is we create awareness. Yeah. We create awareness. If you're itchy, you try to clean yourself, but you're still feeling itchy, there could be a problem. So just don't sit there and think it will go away. No, if it's persistent, a day, 2, 3, go see a go to a health facility and seek help. So for us, majorly is creating awareness around now menstruation.
To be aware that if I'm in pain, doesn't have to be normal.
Yes,
I could seek help.
Yeah, if it's the normal, because as girls, as women who menstruate, the pain comes. There's the pain, but this pain is just supposed to be normal. Normal where either you don't take medication, or you just do the home remedies, say warm water. Press on your tummy and it goes away. Or you take a painkiller like Panadol, Brufen, and it goes away. But if it is extreme, then it means maybe there is a problem that warrants for you to go for checkup. And there are many problems that come with, menstruation. We've said endometriosis, we have the issue of fibroids, adenomyosis, all those things. Yeah, so create the awareness. If you feel this certain of weight's not normal, then please seek help. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you continue having this conversation, then of course, how the men can be a part of this conversation is a very vital thing. Yeah. Because these men then, they're our fathers, they're our husbands, boyfriends, brothers. There are teachers in school as well. Yeah. So when, say it's a home setting and there is a daughter, it's not only the responsibility of the mother to talk about these things.
No. It's for us to tackle period poverty, providing the essentials and providing and sharing the knowledge and information around menstruation and menstrual health. The conversation has to be both-sided. It doesn't have to come from one party who is the mother or person of my gender. No. Yes, it's the girls, the women who are going through the process. But the information and the knowledge can be shared by both parties. The dad, the mom, the female teacher, the male teacher, the brother and the sister. So we encourage men to come out and have these conversations. Yeah? Encourage men not to shy away from speaking about menstruation, speaking about sexual health. Right. And how do you do that? One, provide materials. We are in the internet era, materials are online. So if a man really wants to be part of this conversation, there's a whole lot of information. Just read, acquaint yourself with all these things, and then now have the conversation. Right. Yeah. When we are having meetings with the girls, I usually say, don't just allow the female teachers to come. Let even the male teachers come. And even when we go for these same meetings, I don't go alone as a girl. I invite my male friends. In our last, in our last meetings, the ones we've been going, I always try to have 2 men with me, at least 2, 3 men with me, so that they can speak. When the girls also listen to the men speak, they now know or understand. I can even reach a male teacher. I don't have to go to Teacher Helen. I can go to Teacher Victor and tell Teacher Victor that I am in need of 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So the conversation is supposed to be holistic, and we encourage the male in our circles to be part of the conversation. Speak about it, buy product, support, and just be part of the whole process.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's usually, I don't know if I can call it a misunderstanding. Some people, they don't appreciate probably the pain that comes with the period, at the end of every month.
Yes.
And so sometimes some people be like, she's not at work today. Why? Ati cramps. So the way it is washed down.
Yes.
So like, it is not taken as seriously. So is this because people are not really aware?
Yeah. That can only be the reason, the ignorance around the whole topic. You even saw the other day during the vetting of the cabinet secretaries.
Right.
There's this member of parliament, I don't know, for I think a constituency in Migori. He made fun of the nominee Malonza for tourism, that she performed badly that day because she might have been
On her period.
Yeah. You imagine that's a national stage. You are making jest of this kind of issue. Somebody who is a leader, who we expect to be well informed. Yeah, it is true. There is the pain that comes, and that pain is bad. That pain is bad. It can make you not wake up. It can land you in hospital.
Right.
Yeah, it can make the very productive woman just be there, as in it sucks all your energy. It takes a lot out of you. So it's not a simple thing. Yeah, and we need men to understand that it happens. And what do we need from them? There's this support that we call the psychosocial psychological support.
Yeah.
It's really important. Understand that Fanny today has not come to work because if I texted you and told you we are having that day, what we need is that understanding. And you can come in and hold fort for me and not make jest about it.
And not make light of the situation.
No.
Right. I understand we do have to take a very short break, but we'll be back with this conversation. Remember, we are talking matters menstrual health right here on The Conversation at Morning Drift. Don't go too far.
Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maki Wambogo, Sales Manager of Lookuptv Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Reuters Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. We are also going to have a community ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the maraming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the maraming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools, you can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb, you can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki or coming from wherever you will be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +254 722 355 107. Do not be left behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you're in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the project. We start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Optiven, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
Born a man, the society bestows tough responsibilities upon you.
Lazima uwe mtu wa bidii, ukija kuoa lazima uwe ni provider.
If you're not able to provide, that's a challenge. It takes a toll on a man.
It takes someone who is strong enough to face it.
This is Born a Man.
For all your football, F1 and World Cup kits, Carrington Sportswear Hub is your plug for quality, sporty merchandise. Call us on 0703 484 481.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Lookuptv. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. Nasira Lima here, and today on The Conversation, we are talking about menstrual health and menstrual hygiene. And of course, right here with me on set is Phineas Kwega, who is an advocate and founder of My Flow Kenya. Right, of course, and we'll be having this conversation right here in studio. Remember, we have talked about what the foundation is all about, and Phineas, now let's talk more about what you do. So, what was the dream before you began My Flow Foundation?
Okay. How we started in, or how I started, let me say how I started. It was out of an experience I had in the village. There is a girl, a small girl from just the neighborhood, who came to our place. I'll tell you a small story that led to the whole thing. Yeah, so the girl came in the morning to pick milk, but I think she had soiled her clothes and she didn't know. So I saw it was a big visible stain. So I called her aside and asked her, "Are you okay? Do you know that you have soiled your dress?" And she told me, she was about, I think, 13. She told me, yes, she knows she's on her period, but she's not using sanitary towels, but she's using a cloth, just a cloth. Right. And you know, a cloth doesn't have the absorbent, the good absorbent that absorbs the flow. Yeah, so out of that, I thought, oh my God, she's here, she's my neighbor, yeah, and she doesn't have sanitary towels. So how many more girls are out here who don't have? So, okay, I finally, you know, gave her a few packets of pad. I gave her a panty, and I told her whenever she's in need, she should just come and see either myself or my mom if I'm not there. So then out of that, I put up a tweet on Twitter and said, if there's any girl anywhere in this country who doesn't have sanitary towels, could you please reach out to me? I got tons of inboxes. tons, a lot of inboxes. So what I did is, I hadn't done this. I had never bought pads like for very many people. I didn't even know where to get a good number of pads. So what I did is I went to a supermarket in Kisumu. I took a whole trolley of always sanitary pads. I bought envelopes, a felt pen, and a sellotape. So what I did is, for each request, they came from all over Bungoma, Bomet, where, put 4 packets of sanitary towels and sent via post office. So that's how I started. And then after that now, guys working in communities, with CBOs, social workers, right, in churches, in the informal settlements, now started reaching out to me and telling me, I do this, and this, and I'd love if you helped me or helped us do this, and this. So for me, I'll say it's a journey. That's how it started. So I found myself from the one girl at home to the about 10 or 12 I sent pads to now visiting the community centers, visiting the informal. And then now from those visits, let me tell you, Nelima, that's when I learned we have a huge gap. There's a huge gap and there's a huge need. Girls from these places don't have period materials. They don't have information on menstruation. And the people in those communities are just trying to help, and it's sometimes one-off. Yeah, sometimes, when they have, they do. When they don't, it's just like that. So that's how now I picked the issue from, and I told myself I will start handling it. So then as a lawyer, I didn't want to do these things kienyeji. So I wanted it to be structured in a formal way. So now I registered my Flow Foundation organization, and we have been doing the work so far. So up to now, from let's say 2020 when we started, we've reached, I think, about 3,500 girls.
Right.
Yeah, 3,500 girls with a dignity care pack. Some are repeat visits, or we go there, we visit them like 2 or 3 times in a year. Others we do, like last year, there's a school in Kibra, we did a whole year's supply of the menstrual dignity pack.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the efforts of the government. I know this is a personal project of yours, and you are an individual, a single organization, a foundation, but then the government is more far-reaching.
Yes.
So do you think there is enough being done, or what are the areas that actually can be accelerated?
Improved on. This is what we do should be done by the government, because you see, menstrual health falls under health,
right,
and then it also falls under education, because what you're trying to do is, in our endeavor to eradicate poverty, we are trying to keep girls in school. Because if you see from the statistics, there's one that was done by UNICEF. There's a lot of research that has been done around the area. UNICEF, right, World Bank, close to 70% of girls who are menstruating miss 3 to 4 to 5 days monthly for school.
That's a lot of days.
That's a lot of days. When you compute them in a year, that's, I don't know, close to 2 or 3 months missing school. Well, the other guys, the boys are just, going on.
It's very hard to compete at the same level.
It does. It's very, extremely hard. So the government needs to come in and supplement and ensure that this need is met. I've mentioned to you about the menstrual health and hygiene policy. It wasn't there. It was just made, it was implemented. It's a 2019 policy, but implemented in 2020. But even the implementation, it's supposed to be implemented county by county. This is a policy that provides for, schools need to have infrastructure. Schools need to have the know-how, the knowledge on how to, eradicate period poverty, how to deal with the taboos and, the misconceptions and misinformation on period poverty. But if you look at the implementation, I was looking at the internet to get the statistics on this particular policy implementation and how far we have done. But there's no real information out there.
Right.
We know it's there, it needs to be done. We just don't know the extent on how it has been done. In the budget, we know that the government puts aside money for menstruation period products. Pads, schools are supposed to have free sanitary towels, especially public schools and, you know, those schools in informal settlements in the villages and, you know, whatnot. They are supposed to be having these products, but they don't. Yeah? So we don't know where
so
is the
accountability
money.
again.
There's the issue of accountability, there's the issue of corruption, and then there's also just the issue of ethics within ourselves. Yeah? The reason why I am a hands-on person with my project is there's a school I once sent pads to because I didn't have the time to visit. And on following up, they didn't give the kids. You know, you're supposed to give them 3 packets. I only learned their girls were given 2 and others were given 1. So where did the rest go to?
Right.
You understand? So there's a whole issue around it. Yeah, we have very good laws, we have very good policies. It's implementation. Yeah, it's implementation that just needs to be done. Then the issue of corruption needs to be phased out, because if the government can say allocate, say, is it 3B or 6B annually towards menstrual health, why are we not seeing the effects on the ground? Yeah, why are we not seeing girls? A girl is not supposed to miss school for lack of these products. Yeah, so we just need to do better as a society, holistically.
And when we talk about the society, then it is a society that has been patriarchal for a long time.
Yeah.
And in a couple of communities, still even in this, in 2022, then there is the issue of early marriages. So these must be issues that you encounter as you're trying to help young women who are going through these challenges. So then how then do you address it as you just try to empower the girl child and inform them better?
Yeah, so again, ours is a lot of awareness, especially on matters that we cannot handle or tackle by ourselves. For instance, if we go to, let's say, where is early marriage rife? Say counties like Kajiado, counties like Bomet, you know, those are counties where if you go in the villages inside, there are girls at 13 or 14 are easily married off, yeah? So we have the conversations with the schools or with the community, the community elders, and then we tell them that it's illegal to marry off your child at 14, 13, 15, without even getting to the age of consent. So what then needs to be done? We sensitize them and tell them, do not do this. If you see somebody doing this, you need to report so that they can be held to account, yeah? So for us, majorly what we do is, it's awareness. We, you know, it has to start somewhere. We speak and create the awareness and encourage and tell them this is what you need to do in the event that this and this happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are alternatives to the sanitary towels. The people who come up with the cups.
The cups.
As well as even washable.
The washable ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you think this is a viable option when it comes to dealing long-term with the issue
of course it is. The menstrual cup, the washable sanitary towels, they are very ideal. They are very ideal because you see with the cup or the washable the reusable sanitary towels, so long as you have water, clean running water, you are able to wash this pad and use it again. And they can, we have those ones that stay up to a year or 2 years. If you buy a pack of 5, it will serve you for a year or 2 years. So they are a good alternative to the disposable ones. Yeah, but we encourage, you only use them if, one, you have proper hygiene, you have water to clean, yeah, because in the absence of you cleaning them well, then you risk exposing yourself to, you know, infections and all that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then with lack of water, again, will pose a challenge to this alternative.
Yes, and that is why for us, the places that we visit, these are places, these are hardship areas. You know, deep in the village, hakuna maji. In the informal settlements, they have a water challenge. So we stick with the disposable ones also on the hygiene side.
Okay.
From my point of view, I also looked into it from the hygiene point of view. This is something you will use and dispose. But had there been, you know, running water, soap, availability of soap, things that will enable you to clean and air and dry them well, then we encourage. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would you say has been the major challenge as you're going about just trying to empower young girls and eradicate poverty through, you know, strengthening these
The major challenge
regions?
is lack.
Okay.
It's poverty, because it's period poverty, the lack of this product, the lack of this information and knowledge on menstrual health. Yeah, and then the lack of support. I would say, actually, the major challenge is the lack of government support. If the government comes in and says we are doing what we are supposed to do, then this lack or this challenge won't be there. Yeah. So as we come to see if we can, you know, bridge that gap.
Right.
Yeah, it's the lack, because kama wangekuwa na hizo pads, kama wangekuwa na hizo the necessities, then issues to do with early teenage pregnancy, issues to do with rape, issues to do with sexual and you know, GBV will not arise. Yeah, because this child will not have to sleep with this man to get a pad.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we talk about leadership from the government, then there are women who are in senior positions, elective positions. They're in parliament where they can move bills and, you know, implement. Then, so would you say that they have their work cut out for them? There is still more that can be done.
You know, as a woman, first, this is just something that should come to you naturally. And then as a leader, you're supposed to just now enforce it out of your legal and moral obligation as a leader to enforce that. The laws are there. The policies are there. The funding, to an extent, is there. So as a woman leader, then, this is something you just take it up and, you know, run with it. Yeah? If it's not being done to the level or extent that it's supposed to be done, then as a leader with that platform, what are you supposed to do? Push for it to be done.
Right.
Push as in, how do you call it? Is it a call to action? Push for it to be done.
Right.
Yes.
And there's something very interesting that former woman rep in Nairobi, Rachel Shebesh, did say once, and she said that when they get into parliament, after all the election jitters, then it sort of becomes men versus women.
Yeah.
So then this conversation can get a chance. Because then, for women to fight for their own rights and men fighting for their own rights, then this could be then an opportunity.
It's how do I call it? Let me say, we take up space. It has to start somewhere. If you fold back, it won't happen. The conversation won't happen. Yeah? If you're vocal, you're loud about it, you are pushing an agenda, then trust me, somebody will pick it up and run with it. Right. And say, this, huyu amepiga kelele sana, can we listen to her and listen to what she's saying? So women in leadership positions have an advantage. You know, me as Fanny Kwega, I'll just sit here, use my small social media platform to do this and that. But you see, here is a woman in leadership. They have the advantage. They have access to resources. They're in a position to involve or bring together all stakeholders so that they can achieve this agenda.
Right.
So it's just upon them to take it up seriously, not as a by the way. Because
so to be intentional about it.
Be intentional. It's not a by the way.
Okay.
If you look at our statistics, my dear, it's not a by the way. Take it up seriously and run with it. Yeah.
Okay.
And they can do it. Yeah.
And what would you say, in your experience, going through different communities, villages, do you have that one story that has moved you and has maybe even given you more energy just to continue pressing on?
All stories move me.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Okay.
All of them. You go to one, you meet, you talk, they tell you, you interact. It makes you want to do more. And for me, it's not even the stories. For me, it's the feedback I get.
Okay.
Yeah? Even from teachers. They also even look for me and tell me, you have stayed too long, you've not seen us. Can you come? Girls who tell you or who call you, because when I go there, I leave my number. I tell them, you can reach me, you can text me, you can call me. Mm-hmm. The feedback that I get, the girl will tell you really helped me. This month or the last 3 months or the 2 months, I have attended school. I have not missed school. You spoke to me and I really felt nice. So for me, it's the feedback that keeps me going, because now I feel like there's something right I am doing somewhere. Yeah, you can speak to 1,000 and you don't expect all the 1,000 to turn out right or to follow what you're saying, but the 1 or 2 or 3 people from that 1,000 who will feel and understand and get where you're coming from and see that indeed this person has come here to help me. That feedback is what keeps us going. For the stories, they're there, and there are so many.
Right.
Yeah.
And for a lot of non-governmental organizations, even foundations, then a lot of times there is a complaint about how they don't get enough support from the government. So being, if it is the licensing of, say, the foundation itself, then there are a lot of challenges. So did you experience that?
I think what government is trying to do is just provide checks and balances to weed out, fraudulent people or people with not so well-meaning intentions. So when it comes to registration of, say, if it's a CBO, if it's an NGO, if it's a foundation like mine, there's a process. And for it to go through up to the time you get a certificate, there's an entire process of checks and balances, of documents you have to provide to prove that indeed you are well-meaning and your intents are good. Yeah, but it's doable. The challenge only comes when you are unable to now provide, the requirement that the government requires to certify you as an organization to run your objectives and your agenda. Okay. The process is there. If your documents and everything is legit, you will get your registration. And it depends. It takes 3 months, 6 months. It depends from the onset to the time you get your registration.
But then you would say that it is a very doable process.
It is doable. Okay. Mine is a registered foundation. It's a registered non-profit within the Republic. And we also do register others, whether it's a CBO, whether it's an NGO, we do the registration. So your documents and everything are in order, you present what is required, and it's all systems go, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you continue with the efforts of trying to empower the girl child, there's still some girls who are growing into mature young women, but they still don't have access to these menstrual products. Perhaps they could be watching. What would be your word?
In their community, in their spaces, is there an adult who can help them? Is there a teacher? Is there a pastor? Is there somebody, an adult they know who can help them? If they don't, what we normally say is, we have our social media platform. You can reach us, an email, an inbox. You can visit our website and leave us a message there, and we will respond. Yeah, what we do is to everybody who reaches out to us, we respond. It might not be immediate with the action, but we respond and tell them we will look into this and we will see how to get back to you. Right. Yeah. So if there's anybody out there who is listening or who knows somebody in need, just tell them to reach out to. There's always an adult in the room. Yeah. If there's nobody, reach out to us. We've gone to the far-flung areas, even Bomet, Kajiado, and all those areas.
And
we
then
try to reach them, yeah.
Right. Even as we close, what then? There have been many efforts that have been made just to empower the girl child,
Yeah.
given, of course, the imbalances in
Yeah.
the society. What are your thoughts on those efforts that have been made, and what do you think can be done more?
I think for all stakeholders, and stakeholders I mean us guys with the non-profits, the government, then the communities themselves, because the agenda or the goal is one, to keep these girls in school, yeah, to provide the girls and the women in our societies with these products and information so that they can go about their lives as required. They can be in school, go to work, and do all those things. So all stakeholders just need to come together and ensure that this need is met.
Okay.
The government needs to do its thing so that then us as organizations doing this, we just supplement, but the 90% of the work needs to be done by government. And you as mainstream media, we need you guys to also focus on these communities and these issues that affect communities. Just speak about them and bring them to light. If one person calls for action, maybe the impact will be kidogo. But if we have calls for action from us guys, the media, every other person, then the whole objective, the whole agenda will be reached.
Right.
Yeah.
And then thank you so much. Maybe for your closing remarks,
Okay.
then, what then would you tell the government? Because it is very essential, it's a very essential part of this conversation, because the government is far-reaching. Then you are an organization that has already been able to do a significant amount of work.
Okay.
And now, especially that we have a new Cabinet Secretary for Health.
Yeah.
Susan Mafula, yes.
Yeah. With the work that we do, we have the Menstrual Health and Hygiene 2019 policy that was brought into effect in 2020. It's a 10-year-long policy. So it's supposed to be implemented across all the counties within these 10 years. So for me, my call or my ask would be to task government to fully implement, not in part, not to be seen as to implement, to actually go on the ground and
get it
implement.
done. Okay.
If there is a fund or a budget that has been set aside for this work, can they follow through and ensure that the people who need it get it? Can we have accountability? Can we have transparency? Can we have this money working for us in line with this?
Right.
Yes.
And thank you so much for being part of this conversation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Phineas Kwega is an advocate and founder of My Flow Foundation. Thank you so much. This is Morning Drift. I am Nasin Alima, and we thank you for being part of this conversation. And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. We can continue engaging across our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our official YouTube channel. And I am at Nalima Nancy. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a pleasant day.